Okay, hi everyone. Yeah, sorry I didn't put a video out last week. It was kind of crazy, but the one I was going to do, it's kind of apropos that it worked out. It's done this weekend instead. The book we're going to cover today is The Knife and Gun Club. This was a book by Eugene Richards. He rode along with the ambulance crew and went into the ER at Denver General. And I purchased this book when I was still an EMT and I was working at an ER in Colorado Springs. And all my EMT friends were like, "Oh, you got to get this book, you got to get this book." And I bought it, and of course, things we relate to all the time. And I just remember there was so much controversy about this book even being published because it's photographs of people in the emergency room in all kinds of situations, life, death. And I don't know if you guys know what the term knife and gun club means, but it generally refers to the time in an ER, which most cases occurred on the weekend, but like a Friday and a Saturday, but the times in the ER when you get a lot of patients that are coming in are either stab wounds or gunshot wounds. Unfortunately, that happens more often than you think. Um, yeah, the photo that I think touched me the most in this book was this one. And it's because when you're in the middle of, a scene, a trauma, an emergency, I mean, everything's buzzing. Everybody has a part. Everybody's working in synchronicity, and you work, you work, you work. But when it's over and it's the chaos that's left behind, it's when you stop and you take a breath and going, oh my God, does this ever end? Do people ever just be nice to each other? And, it's the packaging on the floor, the blood on the floor, the body fluids on the floor, you know, um, the coverings, the head to toe mask, shields. But most of the time they'll take those and throw those in the trash. But gloves and then it just sits there after, and that's all that's left of. And whether or not the patient survives or not, you're still left with that. I don't even know. It's a weird emptiness, and it, unless you've been there, it's really hard to describe. But this book, it has all. I want to show you a lot of the photos, but I really can't. Um, I'm trying to see. Well, like for instance, like this one. That's one of the better ones. But this is filled with stories from paramedics, nurses, doctors, and the patients that they dealt with in the emergency room. I'm trying to, yeah, I'm trying to see. Like, you see this nurse's eyes? Look at her eyes. I mean, that is such an excellent photograph. And it reminds me of what happened yesterday um, with President Trump. And that's what I'm saying is kind of apropos that I saved this book, or it just turned out that I would be doing Knife and Gun Club today instead of last week. Because when I was watching the scene and the interviews, and the ER doctor that was on scene, he's describing the head wound, and you're like, okay, that's fatal. That the guy was gone instantly. And then the ER doctor was saying he was doing chest compressions and respirations. That ought to tell. I mean, and then his eyes. I hate that look. I've seen it so much in an ER. It's that trauma. He had those trauma eyes. So I'm wondering if he had been retired, because an ER doctor would have taken one look at that patient and said, you just would, because there were other people injured. When you're doing triage, you're trained in the ER, you have to do triage. You have to look and see who's viable, who is not, what can be treated, what cannot. And there were two other people there that were injured, and this poor man, this doctor, was doing CPR on someone who was gone, and there's no way to bring them back. None. He was gone. And then, you watch and you just see everybody who was interviewed, the trauma in their eyes. They got to experience a little bit of what it's like to be in the chaos of a situation like that. And it's, your heart goes out to them. But I'm so grateful that President Trump is okay. It's like that was not good. And the sniper on the roof that took out the would-be assassin, they were fast. At first I was like, what are they doing? What's going on? How come they didn't know? But then when they pull back and you're looking at a different angle and you're seeing it from the beginning, that sniper, I swear they took the first shot to try to take them out. And then the chaos just went from there. But still, it just, like I said, it's so apropos to this book. I worked in an ER for almost 10 years. And the things you see, the things you deal with, this book, it barely even begins to scratch the surface. And I remember the controversy about this book when it first came out. And I don't remember if it was somebody. It was so long ago. This was put out in late 80s, early 90s. I can't remember now. But they were like going, those kind of pictures shouldn't be shown. Don't put them in there. And they wouldn't let them use color photographs, if I remember correctly. But see, that could have just been a story floating around at the time too. But instead they used black and white. Now, anyone who's taken art or anything that you know about photography, black and white photos are oftentimes more dramatic, and it just pierces you more. And this guy, what's his name again? Sorry, Eugene Richards. He captured a lot of really, really good moments. Well, okay, not good for the person suffering this, but good moments in the sense of the photography. He captured the essence of what was going on at the time. But anyway, I'm not sure if I don't know if this book is still available for print. It might be, maybe on a second or third edition. This is the first edition. This was when it very first came out. So this one is no longer available for purchase, but I do think that there might be another edition that's available. But anyway, you can't even give this a quote unquote stars, because this is above and beyond. This is reality. This is life. And it's just a very, very good book. I never did get to go work at Denver General. I know we transferred patients to DG, but I never worked in their ER department. I was down in Colorado Springs. So from what this book shows, it's like, they saw a lot of really serious and sad situations. But anyway, Knife and Gun Club. If you can get a copy, or if you are interested, these have actual photographs. So if you're squeamish, don't touch it. But if you're interested in what happens in an emergency department, especially when real trauma comes in, and how it's like a well-oiled machine. Everybody has a job. Everyone has a place, and you all just do it automatically. When that call comes in, and, especially if the ETA is, 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes out, everyone just scatters. And then that room, whatever room, if it's trauma room, cardiac room, whatever, they're there and they're waiting. And it's sad that we as emergency room personnel get so much practice, but at the same time, I guess it's a good thing we do, because then we know what to do when the traumas come in. So anyway, excellent book. And if you guys can get your hands on a copy or read it, I think you'll learn a lot.